Endings, new beginnings, feeling our attachments and still letting them go so that we can grow. If these are themes, challenges, or experiences in your life, this episode is for you. Please sit a while and enjoy the journey. Welcome to Inner Bloom Meditations, a podcast of poetry, affirmations, and mindfulness. Today, we'll be breaking into Khalil Gibran's landmark work and opus magnum, The Prophet, an absolute titan of a book. Its name is mentioned alongside other empowering masterpieces such as The Four Agreements, The Power of Now, and The Alchemist. And while published 101 years ago in 1923, its contents were adapted to film as recently as this decade, and with no less than the voices of Salma Hayek and Liam Neeson as the Prophet himself. And I could sing this book's praises and my own connection to it, but that's what last week's episode was about. If you want to know more, and I think it's worth your time, it's there for you. I will say, though, that this book has impacted me deeply and beautifully, and I'm excited to read it to you and with you, then share thoughts and reflections of the beauty etched in and between every letter. So, without further ado, let's experience the magic for ourselves. Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. Al-Mustafa, the chosen and the beloved, who was a dawn unto his own day, had waited 12 years in the city of Orphalese for his ship that was to return and bear him back to the isle of his birth. And in the 12th year, on the 7th day of Elul, the month of reaping, he climbed the hill without the city walls and looked seaward, and he beheld his ship coming with the mist. Then the gates of his heart were flung open, and his joy flew far over the sea, and he closed his eyes and prayed in the silences of his soul. But as he descended the hill, a sadness came upon him, and he thought in his heart, "How shall I go in peace and without sorrow? Nay, not without a wound in the spirit shall I leave this city. Long were the days of pain I have spent within its walls, and long were the nights of aloneness, and who can depart from his pain and his aloneness without regret? Too many fragments of the spirit have I scattered in these streets, and too many are the children of my longing that walk naked among these hills, and I cannot withdraw from them without a burden and an ache. It is not a garment I cast off this day, but a skin that I tear with my own hands. Nor is it a thought I leave behind me, but a heart made sweet with hunger and with thirst. Yet I cannot tarry longer. The sea that calls all things unto her calls me, and I must embark. For to stay, though the hours burn in the night, is to freeze and crystallize and be bound in a mold. Fain would I take with me all that is here, but how shall I? A voice cannot carry the tongue and the lips that gave it wings. Alone must it seek the ether, and alone and without his nest shall the eagle fly across the sun. Now when he reached the foot of the hill, he turned again towards the sea, And he saw his ship approaching the harbor, and upon her prow the mariners, the men of his own land. And his soul cried out to them, and he said, Sons of my ancient mother, you riders of the tides, how often have you sailed in my dreams, and now you come in my awakening, which is my deeper dream. Ready am I to go, and my eagerness with sails full set awaits the wind. Only another breath will I breathe in this still air, only another loving look cast backward, and then I shall stand among you, a seafarer among seafarers, and you, vast sea, sleepless mother, who alone are peace and freedom to the river and the stream. Only another winding will this stream make, only another murmur in this glade, and then I shall come to you, a boundless drop to a boundless ocean. I am so enamored with this book. I love reading this. I love sharing this. I am loving this experience of getting to read it to you and share it with you. In approaching the ways to understand and share this book with you, I have had a few approaches, and I realized, and it was a beautiful, beautiful realization for me, that when it comes to discussing this book, I am able, willing, and happy to dive down to the individual use of words, to dive into the letters, the numbers, right? Into the smallest segments, the smallest pieces, atomizing this work and finding the beauty in all of these little things. And it's a lot. I recorded a segment. I recorded an attempt trying to do that and wound up at over an hour's worth and only discussing maybe, I think, a few paragraphs, if that, maybe two. And so I've decided on a middle ground approach, not all the way up from the eagle's eye, nor is it down on the earth, right, as the ant that crawls, but somewhere in between. And I think a way that I have found a beautiful connection with this and a beautiful way to share so that we can make our way through this work and absorb its beauty piece by piece, not rushing and not hurried, but not lingering too long, is to approach it paragraph by paragraph, and later stanza by stanza. And so let's dive into this in this way. And later on, you can share with me how you felt and what you thought and which direction you would like to see things go, or maybe that you just enjoy them exactly as they are. Whatever it is, I'm happy to listen and happy to change. And so, it really does bring me so much joy to know that there is so much to discuss and dissect, and that there is so much to fall into. It just feels good. Now, let's focus on this first paragraph. What I want to bring our attention to is the empowerment of that first paragraph. Al-Mustafa is the prophet, and he is our protagonist. And Al-Mustafa, as many, if not most, if not all protagonists, represents us, right? He is the representation of ourself. When reading this book, we see things from his lens. We hear words that he says. We are with his thoughts and his feelings. And so we take that time in consuming any media, really, but we take that time here to sit and find ourselves there, looking at the ocean, looking at the ship that is coming for us. Well, I think I might be skipping a step, so let me pull it back. We step into Al-Mustafa, the very first word, and the next words say that he is the chosen and the beloved, who was a dawn unto his own day. And let me tell you, those words, who was a dawn unto his own day, have not left me, have not left me for a single day since I first read this book. What was that? Maybe 3 years ago now. 4 years ago. Wow. Those words have not left me. And that empowerment, that idea of being a dawn unto our own day, of not waiting for something else to come and bring light, but we are that which brings light. And this is true. This is just facts, right? In being present, we bring the light of consciousness. We bring the light of presence, right? We bring the light of ourselves and of our being. And that's beautiful. It feels beautiful and it feels good to be the dawn of something new, to be the dawn of the experiences, to be the dawn of each day. And you are that, and I am that. I claim that for you and with you. And so we start this journey from a place of not only empowerment, but acknowledgement of the power that already exists within us. And so then from this place of empowerment and an acknowledgement of where we have begun, by becoming a dawn unto our own day, and also finding ourselves in a place of waiting, right? That we are on the precipice of something new. And that something new in this case is return. And return is a beautiful thing. I won't expand on it too much here, but one of the translations of the Tao says that the motion of the Tao is return. And so from this place of empowerment and acknowledging this waiting for something good, we move into the second paragraph, that in the 12th year, on the 7th day of Elul, the month of reaping, he climbed the hill and looked seaward. And so I think a small thing to focus on here is the power of numbers offered and how seasons fall into it already. We are in this month of reaping, both literally in the book and of course metaphorically, that there has been work and time put in, seeds have been sown, time has passed, and here we are in the month of reaping, of gathering. And Khalil Gibran has a beautiful relationship with seasons. For him, seasons are beautiful and powerful thing, something meant to be lived in deeply, something that we find ourselves in and become ourselves in. And this is beautiful. You'll I know that I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but maybe we'll just call it foreshadowing, right? This beauty and appreciation that I feel around his connection to seasons and the ocean, which now we're looking seaward, there's something you'll come to have a connection with too as this goes on. And so in the third paragraph, his heart is flung open. His joy flies out. He closes his eyes and prays in the silences of his soul. And at the end of that paragraph, it gives us our first break. Some large space between this and the next one. And so there's an emphasis on this. What does one do when they feel joy, right? And for him, the answer was prayer. And prayer can be many things to many people. And here, it was silent, and it was in his own soul. It was with himself. He has built a practice to sit with that which is beautiful, which is life, and to raise it up in prayer. And that is a beautiful practice. In fact, it's one that's even scientifically proven. There's another book called, let me try to remember, not Resilient, though it is the same author. I believe it's called Hardwiring Happiness by Rick Hanson, I want to say, a modern self-help book. And in it, he discusses the power and empowerment that comes with experiencing something beautiful and good and taking a few moments to just breathe and allow that good feeling to sink in and to think to ourselves, this is who I am. This is what my experience is. I experience good things. I experience beauty and love and peace. And maybe even I am grateful for those things, right? And so this practice of the prophet, that his heart be flung open and his response is to pray and to sit with the silence. It's beautiful, beautiful. And so from these first 3 paragraphs alone, very short, essentially 3 sentences, more than that, but still, we have this beautiful idea and connection with who and what the prophet is and where he is and where he's going. And so in this next step, we descend the hill. He descends the hill, and we with him. And a sadness comes upon him, right? And he says, how shall I go in peace and without sorrow? Nay, not without a wound in the spirit shall I leave the city. And this, I think this starts to hearken to tales and stories, to images and metaphors that we know. This is the beauty of descending the mountain, like Dante descending into darkness, because that descent is where the beauty lies. And to reference a poem that comes later on, titled On Joy and Sorrow, the prophet claims that our sorrows and joys are the same thing beneath their mask, and how beautiful it is to learn from that which makes us sad, as he does in reflecting in the ways in which he has scattered his spirit in the streets here, and also that he is intentional in making this change, stepping into the painful transition, right? Saying to us that this is not a garment that he casts off, no, but a skin that he tears with his own hands. He does not hide from the difficulty of it. He does not try and cover it up or claim it to be something else. He does not deny himself the real lived experience, the valid emotions of what he's going through as he descends that hill and as that sadness comes upon him. He sits with it, just as he sat with a joy a second ago. And in some kind of beautiful way, the joy required no words. And the sadness, maybe it too does not require words, but as he works through it, there are words. Too many fragments of the Spirit have I scattered, and I cannot withdraw from them without a burden and an ache. This is the skin that I tear with my own hands, and this is my heart made sweet with hunger and with thirst. And that can be a beautiful practice, that when we sit with sorrow and sadness, we reframe it. Again, not denying it, but sitting deeply with it and bringing beauty to it, right? Something that I think is not, I'll speak for myself, is not usually the first thing to come to mind I think it's a practice. I think it's something that comes with time and with intentionality to see the shine and shimmer and beauty of a difficult experience. In my own practice, I think writing poetry is definitely that for me. And for others, it might be making visual art. For others, the beauty of exercise, even, right? To take something that is a difficult feeling, something that has some weight to it, and to alchemize that within ourselves, and to alchemize that into something beautiful, to understand that sadness occupies the same space that also holds our joy. It is that life that is within us that experiences the world. And so he experiences the world, outer and inner. And then he says to himself, "Yet I cannot tarry longer. The sea calls unto me, and I must embark. For to stay is to freeze and crystallize." And so this acknowledgement, right, that he must heed the sea, again, calling out to the ocean. He sat with the pain. He named it, did not try and pretend it wasn't there, and then transitioned into his understanding of his need to go. Yet I cannot tarry longer. For to stay is to crystallize. The acknowledgement that all things must change. The only constant is change. And we ourselves are living and dynamic things. We are not meant to just stay. And as we live, we are not meant to be crystallized or be bound in a mold. No, we are living, breathing, moving things. And it is beautiful to live and breathe and move. And so how do we move into that? Well, his next words move us into the transition of letting go. How even the environment we exist in, sometimes we treat as a possession, which maybe is to say we let it possess us. But I digress. Maybe that's something to dive into another time. But even the environments that we exist in are just other things to let go. Let me not say that. They are not just that. They are so much more. But they are also things in which we are given an opportunity to practice letting go. That is not to say that they don't have value. That is not to say that they are not good. For example, he says, "A voice cannot carry the tongue and the lips that gave it wings. Alone must it seek the ether, and alone and without his nest shall the eagle fly across the sun." And so he is not denying the power of the tongue and the lips that create the voice, that give it wings. But he does speak to the way in which the voice cannot carry the tongue and the lips. Alone must it seek the ether. And that is beautiful. It comes from somewhere. It is made from something. And it goes forward into something else, into its fulfillment, as we go into our fulfillment. And alone and without his nest shall the eagle fly across the sun. This is not denying the beauty of the nest. The eagle was born in that nest, grew in that nest, experienced safety and protection, and still does. And we imagine still has that nest to return home to. It is not destroying it in order to go and fly, but it must leave it, right? And so it goes, and it flies, and it reaches its highest potentials, its highest self, and becomes an icon and a beautiful image for us to follow. Many cultures, many peoples, many eyes have looked to the sky and admired the eagle, have admired its flight, have admired its closeness to the sun. And we too are close to the sun. And as our understanding grows, realize that we are the sun. and we are as the sun, again, dawns unto our own day. Man, thank you for letting me share this with you. There's a little more I'd like to dive into, but even reaching this part, I just feel so grateful. Thank you. I hope that this is resonating with you. I hope that this is offering something unto you as these works have offered unto me. But let us move into this next step. Let us move into this next piece together. And so, he has descended the hill, and he reaches the foot of the hill. And what does he do? He turns again towards the sea. And here we gain beautiful words, ones you've heard, but I'll repeat again, right? Sons of my ancient mother. And who was that ancient mother? What we heard before, right? The sea that calls all things unto her, right? And what else does he say of the sea? Ready is he to go. To you, vast sea, sleepless mother, who alone are peace and freedom to the river and the stream. I shall come to you, a boundless drop to a boundless ocean. It is beautiful. It is so beautiful. I remember once I had a practice. At least I should say, I remember once I birthed the practice. And the beginning of it still sticks out to me, still stands out in my memory of the experience of, I was washing dishes actually, and looking out the window in front of the sink. And I thought to myself, can I practice gratitude for a single blade of grass that I see in the yard? And I focused my attention on it. And I focused my attention on one blade of grass, and thought, thank you. Thank you for the beauty that you bring into life. Thank you for reaching into the earth. Thank you for reaching down into the earth. And thank you for reaching up into the heavens and breathing the same air that I breathe and creating the breath that I breathe. That we live in this beautiful union, this beautiful give and take between plants and humans, plants and animals, between that blade of grass and me, myself. And literally wide awake, as he would say, right, in our awakening, which is our deeper dream, but wide awake, I swear to you, this blade of grass began to glow, and nothing else was growing darker, but its radiance made the world around it seem to pale in its comparison. And I've since carried this practice with me and seen the ways in which I, as a dawn into my own day, as a light of consciousness, as an eye of the heavens, right? As this beautiful point of consciousness, can find beauty in things and help them to unfold, at least within myself and within my understanding of the world. And I can tell that this man has spent so much time looking at the ocean and unfolding as he does, and as he looks at the sea, seeing it unfold in front of him so beautifully, into this understanding of calling it the mother, something that maybe again we can reference the Tao, concepts of yin and of yang, and in that, the yinness of water, of the ocean, of that which is cool and dark, right? I could go on fairly at length on that. I think I would like to gather my thoughts and come up with something for you before then. But suffice to say, I love his love of the ocean. And this way of saying it, of seeing it, of connecting with those men who are the men of his own land, crying out to them, yearning to stand among them, right? Of the acknowledgement that his awakening is his deeper dream, and he is eager, and that there are steps. I think that is also important, right? He has moved from this place of curiosity to a place of joy and gratitude, descending the hill into his sorrows, acknowledging them, and then acknowledging the need to go still. And now, moving through that, he can find himself in a place of joy, in a place of connection, in a place of seeing the people he yearns to connect with as we feel moving through our sorrow, realizing the people that we have, the people that we want to be with, and feeling the joy of that possibility, and feeling that eagerness, remembering the goals that we have, remembering the places that we're going, remember the beautiful things that are coming our way, and the beautiful things that we are moving towards. And still, here, acknowledging the steps, and I would say beautiful steps, right? He says, you, vast sea, sleepless mother, who alone are peace and freedom to the river and the stream. Only another winding will the stream make, only another murmur in this glade, and then I shall come to you, a boundless drop, to a boundless ocean. He compares these last steps of the journey to being a river and being a stream. And are these not beautiful? He does not describe himself as something held back by a dam. He does not describe himself as something completely separate. He is this thing in another form. We are those things in other forms, right? I would like to borrow words from, I believe it was Alan Watts, right? I believe he is the one who said, we are the universe seeking to know itself, right? We get to see the beauty of the ocean, feel the beauty of the ocean, and it is made full and real by our engagement with it. And so this thing is very much us, and we are very much this thing, as we are the music we hear, the sights we see, the words we speak. We are in all of this, and all of this is in us. And so this beauty, this beautiful way of describing it as moving towards it and being it at the same time. Wonderful. Thank you. And I skipped a line that I think also is important. He says, only another breath will I breathe in the still air, only another loving look cast backward, and then I shall stand among you. And so that look cast backward is loving, right? It's not with anger. It's not with sadness. Well, who knows? Love can hold some sadness, which we'll explore actually very soon, very soon. One of the very first poems of this book, although even this intro written as prose feels like poetry. This loving look embodies the acknowledgement not only of the steps ahead of where we're going, but of the steps that it took to get us here, and the way in which we can look softly upon them, even in this simple journey. Only about 4 paragraphs or stanzas in. We've gone through a journey already, ascending the hill with curiosity, looking out to the ocean with hope, seeing something and feeling satisfaction, feeling joy in that, feeling gratitude and raising it up in prayer, descending the hill and grappling with our own sadness, with our connections and our ties, our attachments, acknowledging them, moving through them into a state of empowerment, right? Looking from that state of empowerment towards the things that we are excited for, towards the people that we care for, and being here. And so we cast that loving look back, as we too can cast a loving look back on all the steps of our journey, on all the things that led us here, and then feeling good in being here, and being a boundless drop that can come to a boundless ocean. It's like that movie. What is it? The Fault in Our Stars. There are many infinities. Some infinities are smaller and larger than other infinities. But we are infinite. We are infinite. I am infinite. You are infinite. I am boundless. You are boundless. And we are boundless things with boundless homes to return to. Boundless drops to boundless oceans. And I think this is a good spot to leave it for today. For one, that's a beautiful lesson. That's a beautiful statement to leave with, that we are infinite. And for two, I have dove quite a bit into this with y'all. For those of you who are still here with me, thank you so much. I hope that you have found something in this. Actually, I'm gonna say with some confidence, I'm pretty sure you have. If you're still here, you have to have. And that's not to say that my words have to have done that, but that just by you being here, something had to have resonated. And I'm really glad that it did. So thank you. I'm so grateful and so happy and so fulfilled to have even been able to share this with you today. Beyond these readings and these thoughts, I look forward to sharing with you. I'm so grateful, so happy, and so fulfilled to have been able to share this with you today. Thank you so much. Beyond these readings and these thoughts that we shared today, I look forward to sharing with you affirmations over these same themes in just 2 days on Thursday. I hope that you have a chance to sit with these words, these ideas, and with any feelings that arose, and maybe these seeds of curiosity can grow and bloom into the flowers of self-discovery, the fruits of self-cultivation. I would love to hear about your experiences, your own reflections and connections to this work. And you can share those with me on our Instagram page at Inner Bloom Pod. That's Inner Bloom Pod. If you feel called to support this podcast, if you feel called to share energy with us, I've designed some pretty cool merch, actually. I've designed some merch for you that I'm actually very proud of. I'm not gonna lie. I think it looks great. I think you should totally check it out. Or you can also support us directly through Patreon or Coffee, all of which are linked on that Instagram page. There's a little link in bio or Linktree, something. I also have an upcoming audiobook, a full recording of the Prophet at length, so you can be lulled, carried, and uplifted by its words from beginning to end. And speaking of beginning to end, I think this brings us to the end of today's sharing. I feel complete in this, and I hope that you do too. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being you, and thank you for blooming every day. I'll see you on Thursday for those affirmations, or next Tuesday for some more beauty and poetry, and I'm excited to hear about your growth in our comments. Until then, may you be blessed in all your days and all your ways. Thank you.